Quick breath.
Happy Friday. We made it. It's the end of the week. Bishop on air with you each and every weekday morning here on X, on Facebook, streaming live on YouTube, where you can also like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell and join us each and every weekday morning. What we're going to do today is take a look at what's happening in the Southern District of Illinois Federal Court this afternoon with the challenge against Illinois' gun and magazine ban. We'll also take a look at what the Illinois Attorney General is doing with some requests to the White House to investigate ammo sales. Plus, we've got to delve into the question that's been circulating on a lot of different channels as far as what some of the next steps are with the gun registration and suspicions that there could be a confiscation scheme. So we'll review that and also take a look at some legislation recently filed by a state senator looking to restrict who has a driver's license if their FOID card is suspended. So we'll also delve into that and the prospects of what could happen when lawmakers return next week for the start of spring session, which ends at the end of May. So we'll be tracking all of that here each and every weekday morning. But I also want to do a poll of you guys out there watching live and as far as what else you'd like to see me report on when it comes to Illinois. Of course, my full-time gig with the Center Square has me as a State House reporter, and we field a lot of reports coming out of the State House. You can find that work at thecentersquare.com/Illinois. But I'd love to hear from you as to what you'd like me to cover on this program each and every weekday morning. So we'll do a little bit of a live poll later on for those of you who are tuning in live. So be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we've got more coming up here with Bishop on Air. So stay tuned, all right? It's right here each and every weekday morning.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand, because what you want to do is prevent people from purchasing assault weapons in the state, and you want to make sure that you know where those very, very deadly weapons are, who owns them, when and if a crime is committed with one of them.
Potentially, we could have, as has been leaked to us, the governor asked for legislation to close the existing owner loophole after a mass casualty event next year, where the existing people who have dutifully followed the registration requirement of the law are given 90 days to surrender those registered firearms and accessories to the police, or they face an additional felony charge. And that's the story we're getting.
It's a little bit of back and forth there with Governor J.B. Pritzker last month talking about why have a registration for the gun ban, and John Bach from Gun Save Life sharing some of what he's hearing from sources, what could be some of the next steps here. Welcome in, Bishop on Air. Of course, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and follow along with us as we track what happens with the gun ban in the state of Illinois. Of course, we've tracked all of the lawsuits that have happened, and we'll delve into some of that here as well. well, but a lot of moving pieces when it comes to the gun ban and the registry as well. With that registry, all accounts are that the compliance rate is at least between 4 and 8% when you extrapolate a bunch of different numbers. But as has been reported elsewhere, in this idea of what happens next and the, quote, confiscation scheme that some people are speculating upon. As you heard there, John Bach, he spelled out some of what he anticipates happening in the new year, this year, when I chatted with him just before the new year. So at the tail end of 2023, part of the conversation I had with John Bach went something like this. And let's go ahead and hear that.
What could happen? I think there's a lot of things that could happen, certainly. I don't think the Illinois State Police have the staff to go out and conduct enforcement raids. They may try to do some spot compliance checks for more prolific purchasers of firearms if their firearms are not registered with the Illinois State Police per this law. And at that point, I think it would be voluntary, although they might try to find a sympathetic judge in a sympathetic jurisdiction to maybe issue a warrant that there isn't really probable cause to suspect a criminal violation. They might try to go into some fishing expeditions like that. Potentially, we could have, as has been leaked to us, the governor asked for legislation to close the existing owner loophole after a mass casualty event next year, where the existing people who have dutifully followed the registration requirement of the law are given 90 days to surrender those registered firearms and accessories to the police, or they face an additional felony charge. And that's the story we're getting, is that the governor has welcomed this behind the scenes, and they've already planned it. And if there's a mass casualty incident, especially if it happens in Illinois, the governor is going to welcome this option for new legislation to close the existing owner loophole. And then again, existing owners who have registered would have 90 days to surrender their firearms to police, or face a knock on the door from the state police asking, hey, you registered these guns, why didn't you surrender them within the window? We're here today to pick them up, or we're going to pick them up and take you to jail. And I think that's potentially on the horizon. Other things, we've got rumors that some people are trying to come up with workarounds to facilitate the Illinois State Police doing some fishing expeditions, again, trying to identify some of these people who have purchased firearms who may not be in, as they see it, compliance with the law. That's not how our country works, though. It's innocent until proven guilty, not guilty until you've proved your innocence by proving that you no longer have these guns in the state of Illinois. But a lot of things could happen. Obviously, the governor and people like Representative Bob Morgan are not going to sit by idly when there's 99.4% non-compliance with their precious little law. That, I think, is a very sore spot with them. I think they're losing sleep over that. I think they're very angry about that privately. We'll have to wait and see after the first of the year what their next steps are, but I have no doubt they're gaming this 2 or 3 steps into the future. And of course, we're trying to figure out what those plans are and trying to advise gun owners accordingly.
And again, that was a conversation I had with John Bach just before the new year. And if you missed that, you can find it on my YouTube channel just from a few weeks ago. And the speculation's grown on the idea of some kind of confiscation scheme and the questions, of course, about what happens after a mass casualty event where a firearm was used to kill and injure scores of people. And even Tom DeVore on his Facebook page raising the speculation as well. ABC News Channel 20 here in Springfield did reach out to the governor's office for comment on this, and the governor's office downplayed DeVore as just a private citizen, not an elected official, and should be treated as such, but also flatly denying that speculation of this kind of scheme. But again, when I asked the governor in December about why have a registry, here's his response.
I have a registry of these firearms.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand, because what you want to do is prevent people from purchasing assault weapons in the state, and you want to make sure that you know where those very, very deadly weapons are, who owns them. when and if a crime is committed with one.
And that's interesting. He says, he wants to know who has these firearms, if and when a crime is committed with them. So we'll just leave that there and be tracking that. But it's not the only thing that we're tracking as well. You've got this idea of a new law that's being proposed from State Senator Julie Morrison that was filed this week, dealing with the issue of FOID card revocations or suspensions, and whether or not you've got the possibility of having a driver's license. And this is a measure that is brought forward, Senate Bill 2720. What it says is, and we'll pull this up so you can see this yourself on the Illinois General Assembly website, where you've got the Senate Bill 2720 referred to assignments in the Senate committee. And it says that it amends the Illinois Vehicle Code, provides that the Secretary of State may not issue to or allow the renewal or retention of a driver's license or permit by anyone who possesses a revoked firearm owner's identification card unless the applicant's firearm owner's identification card is successfully reinstated or the applicant surrenders possession of the FOID owner's identification card to Illinois State Police. It amends the firearm owner's identification card, provides that the Illinois State Police shall provide the Secretary of State with a notice of any individual who fails to surrender a revoked FOID card. So that's the item in general as to the synopsis filed at the Illinois General Assembly. The Illinois State Rifle Association putting out this message from their president in the Illinois State Rifle Association's YouTube channel. If you follow that, you saw this recently.
It's really pretty simple. That if you just comply with Section 9.5 and turn in your revoked FOID card, then there are no issues at all. However, under the red flag law, there can be an ex parte case filed against you. In other words, someone can say you are a problem and go before a judge without you even being present or even knowing about it, and you can then lose your FOID card and not get a hearing for at least 2 weeks, if you can believe that. So what's the bottom line here? A person under this bill can be falsely accused and lose their right to drive without having even a single hearing. And here's a very important question. Do you actually trust the Illinois State Police to update their database in a very timely manner? What if a person complied with Section 9.5, but the Illinois State Police database is not updated? There is no recourse in this bill as it is presently written to correct that. But here's the deal. The timing of this is not at all accidental. After Governor Pritzker was left extremely embarrassed when less than 2% of the 2.4 million FOID card holders registered their firearms by the January 1st deadline, he's now looking for new ways to target and harass gun owners. And this time, they want to go after your driver's license.
So again, it's the Illinois State Rifle Association highlighting this bill that was filed this week, Senate Bill 2720 from State Senator Julie Morrison. She was also an advocate of the Protect Illinois Communities Act, which bans the sale and possession of certain semi-automatic firearms. So clearly that's something that people are going to be watching as lawmakers come back January 16th for the start of for the start of spring session at the State House. But there were other elements that are still alive in the State House, including House Bill 676, which did pass the House and could be brought up in the Senate. And one element of that deals with orders of protection cases, saying that subjects of such actions must turn firearms over only to law enforcement rather than to somebody else who has a FOID card. You had the Illinois Sheriff's Association opposed to that, and the measure passed, but it removed other elements in that. It was kind of an omnibus bill trying to regulate firearms owners. One measure, for instance, would have increased the distance a residential area is from a firearm being exchanged. Another one that was removed creates the Firearm Insurance Act and some other elements in there as well. So House Bill 676 could also still come up at the Illinois General Assembly in the second year of the 2-year term. So we'll be watching those things closely here. With Bishop on Air, of course, there's there's plenty more other things that we've got to tackle when it comes to the ongoing litigation against the gun ban. So we'll be taking a look at some of that as well here with Bishop on Air. All right, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow along with Bishop on Air each and every weekday morning. You can also follow me on X, on Facebook, and really just search out Bishop on Air and go to the website bishoponair.com. All right, stay tuned. Much more coming up. The Southern District of Illinois Federal Court this afternoon set with a scheduling conference, bringing litigants who are embroiled in a lawsuit challenging the state's gun and magazine ban. And the scheduling conference includes the various parties looking to have the merits of the challenge addressed. It's Bishop on Air. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Support the program if you want by buying some merchandise here each and every weekday morning, hanging out with you from a home studio I built after having years upon years of working in terrestrial radio. I figured, you know what, work smarter, not harder. Why not just continue to flex my talk radio skills here from the comfort of my own home? So thank you for being here with us. This afternoon, a scheduling conference with Judge Stephen McGlynn down in the Southern District of Illinois. This, of course, is the Barnett case that has several litigants involved suing the state of Illinois over the gun and magazine ban. And Attorney Thomas Magg, it seems that he had kind of a three-pronged approach when he first filed his lawsuit last year. He was the first to file a lawsuit in state courts and tackling the issue on three measures. You got the Second Amendment issue, you've got the 14th Amendment equal protections issue, you got a vagueness issue in there, but also you've got the Fifth Amendment challenge, which Fifth Amendment's your right to not incriminate yourself. So the Second Amendment preliminary actions did get a preliminary injunction holding the law from being enforced. You remember that was late April of last year. That injunction only lasted 6 days before the state appealed to the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals, had a stay issued on that injunction, keeping it from being active, and then months later they heard the measure and they ruled on the measure, saying that the state had a likelihood of succeeding on the merits. This is all on the merits, all right? So while some of those may go to the U.S. Supreme Court, still you're back in the district courts with Magg's challenges, and the states tried to delay their response to Magg's challenge on the merits, but Judge Stephen McGlynn ordered that the state reply by January 19th. But today is a scheduling conference in the case to get to the merits of the issue, and an order that the judge put out on the 8th of this month. It says, regarding the status conference scheduled for January 12th, again, which is today, it goes on to say that parties shall be prepared to discuss the following topics in light of the court's intention to expeditiously move forward to final hearing on the merits. 1, whether or not they anticipate witnesses testifying at an evidentiary hearing, how many witnesses they anticipate will testify at the evidentiary hearing, and whether or not they anticipate expert testimony at the evidentiary hearing. Signed Judge Stephen McGlynn on the 8th. Again, that's what they're going to be working through today during the scheduling conference on attacking the merits of this particular challenge. So we'll be watching that and see what else comes out of that and how quick the merits could be addressed in the Southern District of Illinois. Again, Judge Stephen McGlynn's the same judge who issued a preliminary injunction, and in a federal firearms licensees of Illinois motion to block the January 1st deadline, McGlynn, he said that the rules aren't vague, Second Amendment questions aside, but he also talked about in that ruling denying an injunction on that January 1st deadline that he is looking to expeditiously move forward with the merits of this case instead of having the case continuously tied up with preliminary motions going up to the appeals court that would just deny those preliminary motions. So why not get to the merits of this? So apparently today starts that process in a scheduling scheduling conference, finding out just how many witnesses are going to be brought forward in this case. So interesting to see that. Something else that happened yesterday from the Illinois Attorney General. They joined on with around 17 other states' attorneys general in a letter that they sent out to the White House. And if you are following along, you'll see this letter that the Attorney General of Illinois signed on to, asking for manufacture and sale of military-grade ammunition at Lake City Army ammunition plant and its use in mass shootings to be investigated. So it's going to the White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention. So the Attorney General, in a news announcement on this, he spelled out some of what he's ultimately looking at here. We'll take a look at that document as I grabbed it from the email news announcement, and says that the Attorney General, along with 19 Attorneys General, not 17, called on the White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention to investigate recent reports that a federally funded contractor has produced military-grade ammunition for the sale to civilians. Goes on to talk about Lake City Army ammunition plant produced billions of rounds of ammunition that were sold to the civilian market. Says that future military production of these types of contracts should not allow for the sale of such ammunition to civilians. Goes on to talk about how Lake City is a private contractor overseen by the U.S. Army, and they've sold billions of rounds in the civilian market. And the New York Times, they say, has reported that such products have been used in mass shootings and other crimes. So they also highlight how taxpayers have paid $860 million to improve production at that facility, questioning the use of those tax dollars. But then Kwame Raoul, he goes on to talk about how he's succeeded in a variety of other things, trying to regulate the possession and distribution of firearms, like, for instance, the Firearms Industry Responsibility Act, which faces a federal lawsuit. So even while that's in effect, you've got a variety of different questions being raised in that lawsuit. But the Attorney General also looks at addressing red flag laws, he says in a statement. And even on a national stage, the Attorney General is filing briefs supporting state laws in New Jersey and New York that hold the gun industry accountable, while he faces a lawsuit here in Illinois on a similar measure. Raoul has also led coalitions of attorneys general supporting state and federal firearm restrictions for people under the age of 21, and is in support of bans of carrying firearms in sensitive areas such as schools, public transit, and places of worship. So again, the Attorney General putting out there all of the different things that he has done in support of gun control efforts, not just in Illinois, but across the country. So clearly there's a lot that still is yet to come from all of this. So just wanted to give you that brief update on some of the litigation and other court actions and things happening when it comes to firearms, not just in Illinois, but elsewhere. But clearly we'll be tracking all of that and more. Greatly appreciate you guys being here each and every weekday morning with Bishop on Air. It is Friday, so stay tuned. A little bit of fun next, all right? And we'll interact with you. And if you follow along with us live each and every weekday morning, you can take part as well. So appreciate all the people who are tuned in at this moment. Stay tuned. I appreciate each and every one of you guys waking up with me each and every weekday morning, and even those who come back to the full show and watch. So I'd love to hear from you guys. Of course, those of you who are in live, you're able to sound off live. And I do hope to, at some point, I got to figure this out, allowing for people to call in. I'd love to do call-in segments, and I've seen that Discord could possibly be one of those things. So obviously that's something I'll have to investigate for those who know how to operate Discord, or maybe I just have a phone line somehow installed to take calls live on the show. But listen, I mean, obviously a lot of you are coming to the program each and every weekday morning to get the latest on litigation against Illinois' gun ban. And we'll continue to track that. And we'll watch what happens at the Illinois State House with other types of legislation that may be coming forward. We've tracked also the impact of non-citizen migrants coming into the state of Illinois. And we've done a variety of segments on that. But I'd love to hear from you as to what else you would like to see covered on the channel. Of course, full time with the Center Square. By the way, I'd love for you to go, and if you support what I'm doing, you can help support my full-time gig, the nonprofit Franklin News Foundation. You can donate. Go to thecentersquare.com. Again, thecentersquare.com, and you'll see a donate page right there at the top where you can actually donate to the Center Square, and that would help not just my reporting, but it would help reporters across the country keep track of what's going on at state houses across the country from a taxpayer's perspective. So I would love to see you make donations there. But what would you like to see? What would you like to see me report more on here on this channel? Of course, again, this is just my own thing here, but looking at some of the live feed comments here, again, I'd love to give you guys a shout out and also find out what you'd like for me to report on. So just put that in the comments there. I have my head screwed on straight. Thanks for that, Mark. Keeps us cool no matter what. You see in New York, they told the kid to go back home unattended without their parents. Other comments? Okay, well, all right. So, please let me know what you'd like to government waste in Illinois, our tax dollars being wasted. So Roberts, you'd like to see more reporting on that. And obviously, yeah, that's a great issue to track, because there are regular audits that come out of how tax dollars are used. There's also Inspector General reports that come out about how tax dollars are used. And again, track thecentersquare.com/Illinois. You'll see there a recent report about Chicago Public Schools and all of the waste, fraud, and abuse there from the last year. According to an Office of Inspector General report, they had 77,000 lost or stolen laptops from the COVID era. They also had the various reports of hundreds of those involved with Chicago Public Schools taking part in Paycheck Protection Program fraud. Those are tax dollars that were fraudulently obtained. You also had sexual misconduct allegations that were investigated. So clearly, yeah, I think government waste and abuse is very much top of mind. Others are talking about city and state budgets. And this is, listen, I mean, the state budget's one thing, right? I mean, that's covers the entire state. Looking at city budgets, that's difficult for at least one person to do. And I know that there are efforts to expand local reporting. And I think that there is absolutely an appetite for just a general overview and an understanding of how tax dollars are used, especially on a city level. You know, I'll look at some of what goes on at the city of Springfield because I live close to it. But I mean, my small village that I live in, you know, their budget's minuscule compared to some of these other larger areas. So yeah, interesting city and state budgets somebody wants to have regularly reported on. Carla says we need to talk about our election process and the precinct committeeman seats. Well, I don't know much about the precinct committeeman seats. It's very much a party-specific issue, but the election process is clearly something that we need to report on. There was a elections hearing this week with the House Elections and Ethics Committee. The Illinois lawmakers, they talked about one measure that would expand mail-in voting and essentially send everyone a mail-in ballot. And that would be bypassing that application process. Because as it is right now, you can apply to get a mail-in ballot after you get an application. But some are wanting to give county clerks who operate local elections the ability to just send out those mail-in ballots without that application process in place. So Democrats in control of the Illinois General Assembly looking at that as a possible measure impacting elections. And you also have questions of whether or not we should remain a centralized or remain a decentralized election process or have a centralized election process. Because as is right now, you've got like 106 election authorities, I believe, spanned across 102 counties. Typically, a county clerk's the one that operates the election. I think Chicago's got a couple of different jurisdictions there, but the elections are decentralized, meaning in Sangamon County here in central Illinois, they operate their elections different than Cook County operates their elections. So you're going to have a decentralized process there. Some people want to make it a centralized election process, so maybe we track that as well. Good suggestion there on tracking the election process. Also, let's see here, some of the other comments. What do you want me to see cover here on this channel? Taxpayer dollar waste for sure. With no bail, is our county jail empty? That's an interesting question, Lester, from Facebook. Let's see here. What else would you like to see? What we're doing with the pot tax money. That's a good one too. So maybe I'll have to come back and take a lot of notes here and some of the live questions that are being brought up as to what I should cover. But yeah, a lot of cannabis tax dollars. The state this week announcing another record-breaking year with billions in sales and hundreds of millions in tax revenue. And that tax revenue split up a whole bunch of different ways. So the taxes on cannabis in Illinois can range from, I think, like 25% up to like 40+%, depending on the potency of the product. And those tax dollars that are generated from that, a lot of tax dollars. You're talking upwards to 40% per dollar. So that's a lot of tax dollars coming in. It's split different ways. I think like 8% goes to law enforcement programs. Another small percentage goes to public awareness programs. But you have, I think, about 1 out of every 4 dollars going to local nonprofit organizations in certain areas considered negatively impacted by the war on drugs. So that's interesting to see. And not just where those tax dollars are going from the cannabis sales, but also are they being effective, right? I think that's clearly where you have to go with a story like that. So yeah, I think fascinating to really delve into some of these suggestions here. Property taxes in the state of Illinois, we regularly are top of the list for highest property taxes, either at second or third or fourth for property taxes. Let's see, what else are there? Some of the suggestions here from you guys live as we look at what you want me to report on moving forward. All this talk about spending. Taxes keep going up. People keep moving out. Taxes then go up. It's according to Brett. Others, let's see here. What else would you like me to cover? Oh, come on, guys. All right, I understand you're talking amongst yourselves there, but give me something. Live to tape each and every weekday morning here with Bishop on Air. All right, rules need to apply in the elections. Leave Bishop alike, guys. Yeah, like it up. Subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'm inching up on 14,000 subscribers, guys. You guys are blowing me away. All right. Do we have a count on migrants? Aaron, the latest count from the governor's disaster proclamation was nearly 30,000 in Illinois. Nearly 30,000 non-citizen migrants in the state of Illinois. Maybe a happy topic in there too. Not sure what that would be in Illinois, Brett says. Happy topic. One thing I do want to do more also is I love traveling with my wife, and we may do some travel reviews and things like that. So thank you, Bishop, for the breakdown. Do what I can. Others... The ongoing crime in Chicago. Warsaw Patriots wants to see those reports. We do connect with William Kelly out of Chicago regularly to discuss that. Tenebris, report on gerrymandering. Illinois did most recently last year. A bad report came out about Illinois being among the worst gerrymandered states. And it wasn't just the state house seats, it was the congressional seats. And you even had the recent change of the Supreme Court jurisdictions in Illinois. FOID card cases, John asks on X. Others, let's see here. I'd like you to report on how crime's going in Chicago. Got that. What about the mandate of all employers with over 5 employees and no pension enforced into the Illinois? Carla, if you could elaborate a bit more on that. Bishop, they're taking the FOID card to the Supreme Court. Are they? There is a case, and this is a question, and I did look this up, the Sphinx 8204, about the FOID card. The challenge in federal court won, at least, Myers v. Kelly. That's a case that Tom Mag brought forward, and that challenges the FOID card on a constitutional basis. And you have that scheduled for, I believe, some kind of evidentiary hearing set for May 31st of this year. I know it feels like a long time away, but we'll be tracking that as we get closer to what's going on. So May 31st, we'll see some movement on that FOID card challenge in federal court. Illinois Secure Choice Program. You want me to look into that? That's an interesting one as well. All right, so good stuff here. It gives me a bit of an indication of what you guys are hungry for each and every weekday morning. So we'll track that and more, and hopefully do some more breakout segments and how we can dig a bit deeper into some of these things. Jennifer asking, reporting on Illinois' treatment of veterans and abuse at Veterans Affairs systems. Well, another report that came out, and listen, there's sometimes being in the news business feels like you're sitting in front of a fire hydrant that's wide open and your mouth's agape, and you're just sitting there and it's coming at you fast and furious. There was a report recently from the state agency, I believe it was Health and Human Services, not just about, we've seen stuff about the VA clinics and especially during the COVID area, just horrible news of, veterans dying in veterans homes from COVID and such. But it's not just those homes, it's other congregate facilities that regularly have problems reported, especially those who are, struggling with a developmental disability. They live in a congregate setting, and there's been lots of reports coming out about poor treatment, cover-ups, and a whole bunch of other things. And a report recently published last month delving into some of those things. So yeah, I think all of these are great suggestions. Also, let's see here. Just checking out some of the other suggestions. Report on vehicles and businesses affected by the new shift of electric vehicles. I think that's a good place to look at as well. Election integrity, somebody else suggests. So a lot of good suggestions here, guys. Appreciate it all. Of course, it's Friday. I'm wrapping things up, getting out of here a little bit earlier than usual. So I really want to thank you guys for tuning in and making your voices heard on the live chat. Hang out with us each and every weekday morning, focusing in on Illinois issues and how you're being impacted as a taxpayer. Of course, I'll do what I can to give you an update on the hearing this afternoon out of the Southern District of Illinois. So you guys be sure to like, subscribe, and follow along there. I would also suggest that you follow along on X, where you can get real-time updates. All right? Awesome. You're the best. Have a great weekend. Tenebris. Appreciate that. Jennifer, thanks for checking in. TL, Randall, Joe, Carla. You guys are what makes this show go around. And again, this is the live show. Catch segments throughout the day. We'll be back at it on Monday, all right? Have yourselves a great day. And a good weekend. And be sure to stay warm. Check on your neighbors. We're going to have like single-digit temperatures this weekend here in Illinois. Did you guys get snow up north? Because we just got rain down here in central Illinois. I think the temperature's going to drop, and then we'll get some snow, but whew. Looking forward to some of that snow. All right. Dalton Mayor. Interesting. That's another good story, Cordell. I did see that flashing around. Or is it Dalton? Yeah. Apparently, is this the story of the mayor making six figures and then trying to get an ordinance passed that wants to try to lower the next mayor's salary so nobody wants to run against her? Pretty interesting. All right. Peace out. Have a good weekend. Stay warm. We'll see you back here on Monday.
Think